Hey guys, I'm going to go through the Unit 4 Lesson 11, the Making Functions activity. So, kind of did this in the last video, but the first step we want to do is just play around with this app and see what it is intended to do. And then we'll start thinking about how to plan out our code to make this app work. So what we want to happen is we want to be able to put in a quote. Let's think of a quote. In the middle of difficulty lies opportunity. Okay, and then it lets me change the font and lets me change the background color as well as the size. So you can see it also gives a little feedback down here. It says nice design. It suggests if we use Lucy Sands and lavender, aha, we see that it changes. Or if we use light green, yeah, that little guy changes as well down there. So thinking about what does the app do, what are the inputs, what are the outputs, and what could a function be used, how could a function be used in this app? So we kind of explored what this app does. We get to write a quote and then choose the font, choose the background color, choose the font size. What are the inputs? So the inputs would be this like text box here, as well as this font drop down, the background color drop down, the size slider. I think that'd be it for the inputs. And then outputs would be this screen up here, having the words pop up, having the font sizes change, having the background color change, having the font change. Something in like the properties are going to be changing. That's the output. As well as this little feedback thing. How could a function be used in this app? So functions, remember, are something that's going to take pieces of our code, chunks of our code that get repeated over and over and over and over again. So let's think about how would we do this? How would we do this? How would we create this app? And what are we going to have to be doing over and over and over again? What I'm thinking is that it's like these set properties. This set property is going to change. The set text is going to change a whole bunch. I don't know. So that's what I'm thinking about. That's what I'm thinking about ahead of time. But I don't know. Let's get going. Let's get started working on it. And again, it's okay for now as we're like learning how to code. It's okay to not understand what our function needs to be. It's okay to start writing the code and then maybe in the middle of it or even toward the end of writing our program, we realize, oh, I'm using this same set of commands like 5 different times and I can use a function to take care of that. So that's okay if, if you're not realizing you need a function until later on. That's okay. So I'm going to go over to level 3. And I have my workspace. So over here, all the design elements are in place. And then I've got my toolbox here. So where do I want to start? Where do I want to start? I'd like to start, I think, with my variables. I'm going to switch over to my activity guide over here. We kind of went through step 1 already. We see all of our different elements listed out over here. That's kind of helpful. And then it's going to guide me on here of where to go, how to start. So first thing I want to do is look at all my different variables. So what variables do I have? I have the color, background color. Font family is going to be obviously the font of my text. font of my text. I forgot how to write an M. There we go. Font family. It's also going to be like the text, just my text, my quote. How about let's call it my quote. Quote text. Having a hard time spelling today, I see. Quote text. There we go. And that is going to obviously store the text of my quote. Okay, quote input. And these different elements are going to help kind of guide me in choosing my different variables. So yeah, so I have my quote text. That's going to get, I'm going to get that from my quote input. I have font family. That's going to come from my font family input. Color comes from color input. And then my font size will be obviously the size of my font. Okay. So now let's think about our conditionals. So if else if statements, which are used to check if certain options are being selected. So let's see. So they kind of set this up for me down here, which is helpful. Let's see, functions, yeah. So down here at the bottom, let's see, can I focus that a little better? Maybe I want to zoom in a little more. Ah, that's really zoomed in. There, that works. It's a little pixelated, but that's okay. Okay. Okay, so the first thing that they're trying to do is feedback messages set up, conditional, yeah. Okay, so we're looking at color and the font family. So if color is equal to, let's say one of the options was like light green. And font family equals, I don't know, Lucida Sans. Then set text to be full sign. So this is only looking at that like feedback output portion down here. I don't like this zoomed in. It's really. Let's go back to that. That's better. Yeah, so this is only referring to that feedback output. But still, it's helpful to think through. So if it's not this, then let's say if color equals lavender and font family equals, I don't know, Times New Roman. I'm just making these up. Like it says right here, you can be creative, choose your own combinations and feedback messages. You can put whatever you want. Times New Roman. Set feedback output to purple. I like purple. I love purple. I don't know. That was just the first thing that came to mind. It doesn't matter what you put. You can put anything you want. You can put nice quote. Otherwise. Okay. So that part, that piece of it, you can kind of, you can do whatever you want for, really. I think really the objective of that is just to kind of get you in the mindset of like how you're going to be setting up these different conditionals. All right, let's look at this. Sorry, let's go back to this guy. So the functions portion of the guide. So thinking about what should be included in a function that updates the screen, write out a plan. So what elements on the screen need to be updated using the different variables? Does the conditional above belong in the function? Why or why not? When will the function be called? So our different variables are, again, the color, the font family, font size, and what was the last one? Quote text. Quote text. So the color, is going to update the, let's see what it's called. It's going to update color output. Font family updates the quote output. As well as font size and quote text, all update quote output. Okay. Does the conditional above belong in the function? So let's think about it. So we're going to be typing in our quote. And how does this work? When we type in our quote, do we want, let's go back to this one and run it. So yeah, so this updates whenever we type anything in it, like live updates. It's not updating when we click a button, as well as this. So this part changes when we use these different, when we click on these different things. So it's gonna be like our on events, right? But the quote, that just comes up right when we're typing that in. So does this conditional belong inside the function? Yes, because that function is going to be all about like updating the property, updating the quote output, as well as the color output. So updating those settings. So yeah, I think that conditional is going to belong inside that function. And when will the function be called? The function will be called every time we make any edits in here. Every time we type something in, every time we click on a different font size, or a different color. Okay. So let's list out our inputs. So we have this guy completed, the screen. So quote input, font family input, it's going to be font size. Action. Font family input, font size, and color. What do we call it? Just color input and font size input. This is a slider that changes that way. And this changes. Change. Font size is a slider. This font family changes when selected. font on screen changes. Font size input at slider when moved. Size changes. And then color input, again, when selected. Color changes. It's the background color. Okay. So in step 3 here, we have some steps to follow while we're creating, when we're putting in our code. And I think it's helpful to add in comments so that if you want to take a break from this for a while, you can come back to it and know what you were doing. I don't know, it also helps me to just kind of have like an outline of an idea of what I'm doing. So it's not just so open-ended. Let's do that. Let's do that first in our workspace. Do our comment slashes and let's say create all variables. And then the next thing we want to do, let's do full spaces in between. Next thing I want to do is give assign variables is starting value. And then we want to create a conditional that checks if various options are selected. And then we want to create a function that updates the screen. We want to create event handlers, like on event. I don't know if I can use parentheses like that. Just leave it at that. For inputs. And use your debugging skills to identify unexpected behavior and fix your program. We don't need to put that in there. And comment your code as you go, explaining what each event handler and function does. So that's what I just started doing. We can also add extensions on there if you guys want to add in a little bit more. You can create a drop-down with image names, and you can use images to decorate your quote as well if you want. All right, so let's get started creating variables first. Let me pull up my list of variables. I'm going to have variable color. Yep, and it's just giving me the warning because I've defined it, but I haven't called it yet. So var font family, var quote text, var font size. Whoops. Size. Okay, and now I want to assign all my variables starting value. So color equals, I want my color to be just nothing. My starting color is, if I want it blank, then I think I do just quotes. Does that make sense? Missing semicolon. As well, I want all of these to just be blank. Let's see. Okay, I'm hoping that that all saves. Let's go back. So when I have this set up, hello, what's my font family selected at? What's my color selected at? Nothing, nothing. Okay, continue. Let's go back. And I'm just gonna try and start out setting each of my variables as nothing, just as a space. I don't even think I want a space. Just as 2 quotes. So it's just set at 0 basically. Font size. Right. So I assigned all my variables a starting value. Now I want to create a conditional so that different options are that checks if different options are selected. So I think that this is just referring to that feedback output. So I'm going to look at my feedback output if-else statement that we used up from our activity guide, and I'm going to write that in. So if color is equal to light green, does that show up as, I think it shows up as just light green. Do I need quotes there? I'm not sure. Honestly, I'm not sure. I'll have to play around with it and find out. This is a big part of coding, is just test, guess, and check with Lucida Sands. I think that must be Lucida Sands, yeah, and then light green. Okay, let's go back. Lucida. I feel like that needs to be in quotes. And I feel like this needs to be in quotes. But I could be wrong about that. So let's see what happens. So, okay, so if this and that, then I want to set text of my feedback output feedback output to so I use my ID first and then my text. So what do I want it to say if I choose light green and Lucida Sands? Nice choice. I want it to say nice choice. Okay, and then parenthesis and then semicolon. And then that's supposed to be for that. So now else if color equals lavender and font family equals let's see, what are my different font options? I know it was Times New Roman. Okay. If that, then set text feedback output to lavender. I don't know. Okay, semicolon. Let's see. Do I want to do? Let's do one more. So else if font size equals, I don't know what my different font sizes are, so let's add the font size down here. Font size. Add that in. No, I'm gonna need to program that first before I can use that. So let's just say font size equals 10. So I don't really know what the numbers are. Font size equals 10 and font family equals font family equals, let's see, what were my other options? Impact, say impact. Okay. Then I want to set text of feedback output to be nice size. No, that's weird. Cool quote. Okay, and then that's that. And then let's do our else. So any other thing that we've got going on is going to be else will be set text to feedback output. Oops, didn't mean to do that. Feedback output to I don't know, very inspirational. Okay. Okay, and then that's that. So that's our conditional for our feedback output. Now we need to create this function that is going to update our screen. It's going to update our screen. And then we'll need to do our different handlers, different on events for all our different inputs. Let's start with this function. So let's see, function. What do we want to call this function? I think we want it to be update screen. Let's think. So when we want to update the screen, we want to set property of color output to be, background color to be let's see. So we have to think like kind of like generally right now because we're thinking of function. So I want it to be I want my background color to be whatever color I select. So it's going to be, see examples. I don't want to see examples. I want to see. So I want that to look like, I want it to be my color input. I want it to be my color input. I want it to be color. I want it to be color, right? I want it to be my variable color. I think, let's see. Let's see. So that's the one thing I want to change. I also want to set property of quote output text. I want that to be quote text. And I also want to set property of, so what else do I want to change? I want the background color to change. I want the quote to change. I want the font to change, and I want the size to change. So family font. So I want the quote output. I want the font family to change to font family. What I'm doing, I'm assigning, I want to set the property of quote output of what's going to show up in this screen. I want to set it to, I want to set the font family of the quote output to be the variable font family. Okay, and then my last one is my font size. Again, I want to change my quote output to be, so it's the font size, and I want it to be font size. That's what I called it, yep. Okay, so I was just going back up to check my variables, but I named each of these variables. Okay, so I think that's all I need in my function. I think that's all I need. So I defined my function here. Now what I'm going to do is create my different on events so that for everything that I'm doing, everything that I'm doing is updating. So let's give this a try. So on event, when quote input is when we put something into it, we want function to execute. So when that's done, we want, let's see, because I don't remember. Yeah. When that happens, I want to call on this function, update screen. So do I write function or do I write update screen? I don't really want to do that. No. No. That's not what I want to do. Let me see. Yeah, that's exactly what I want to do. Okay. So function, and then update screen. Now what do? I open that up. Where do I just do update screen? I can't quite, I don't quite know. But let's give this a try for now. On event, quote input, and then okay. So on here, this is what I was really looking for on here. Oh, I know it's really hard to see, but you guys have this PDF. So we have this update screen pattern to help. So we have a variable that we defined. We have a function here, update screen. That function does this. It sets the text to be of count label to our count. If count is greater than 20, then this happens. So when I do an on event, I go up button. So I get my element. What do I do to my element to call the function or to do something? And then what I want it to do is run this function. I want it to run this function where count equals count plus 1 when this happens. And then it runs the update screen. Okay, so let's use that. Let's use that. So on event, quote input. So when this guy is, when there's input being put into it, when there's someone typing into it, I want to run a function. And what I do for that, I have those two parentheses and then I open it up and I say, what do I want to happen? I want to update my variable, my variable quote text to be quote input. Is that what I want it to be? I want it to be I wanted to, no, of course not. I want it to be get text. Duh. And I want, where do I want to get text from? I want to get it from, quote input. And then I want to update screen. Okay, and then I need to just close my parentheses, a semicolon in there. I don't know, let's give this a try. I don't know if it'll work yet. Does that do that to me? Okay, so let's try to type something in. It works. It works. Excellent. But those charts don't work yet because I haven't done those yet. Okay, so now let's do our next one. So on event. I should be putting in my comments as well. So update screen with input with text from input text from quote input from text box. Let's see that. So now I want to do let's do the font family. So update font from dropdown. So on event, when I like it when it gives me my options. On event, font family input is changed. When it's changed, then we want to run a function. So we open function. We do both parentheses there. Let's see, yeah, and then this bracket. And what do we want to do when that happens? We want our variable font family. I think that's what it was called, font family, yep. Font family equal to get, no, wouldn't be get text, would it? It would be, what is that? What would that be called? Would it be get text? It might be get text from our font family input. I think that's what we want. Then we do update screen. Okay. And then we need to close a parenthesis and add a semicolon. And let's reset, let's run that. So if I type in hello, that's great. Does this change? Yes, it does. Very cool. Okay. And look at that. I even got this going on. Very inspirational. I think so too. Okay, so we've done the text, we've done the font. Now let us do font size. So update font size from slider. So on event, font size input is changed. We run a function. Oops. And we open up our function. So when we do that, we want our variable font size to be equal to get number from font size input. And then we update screen. Close our parentheses, and then we're on our last one, update background color, I think is the last one we need. So update background color. So on event, color input is changed. We run a function. And then we open this up. And what do we want to change? We want to change the color to be get text. We want that to be color input. And then we update screen. And then close it out. And I guess that's it. Run. Let's try it out. Hello. Let's try. Okay. Light pink. Font family. Lucida console. Pretty cool. Okay. So let's go through this rubric to make sure got everything going on. In the category of inputs, I want on events for all the required inputs. All my required inputs are the quote, the font, the background color, and the size. I have over here, oops, I have quote, I have font, I have size, and I have color. So I'm good there. Variables. All my variables were created appropriately. They were created at the beginning, and I have all the necessary ones that I need. So the color, the font family, the quote text, and the size of the font. I have my conditional set up properly so that this will change when, let's give it all a try. So light green and Lucida Sands. Lucida Sands, light green, it should say, nice choice. but it doesn't say nice choice. Why not? It's still saying just very inspirational. So maybe my issue was, no, that it just says very inspirational. Does it ever change? Does it ever change if I do lavender and Times New Roman? I thought there was Times New Roman option, but it's just called Times. So that would change it. So that's obviously not working. And neither is, they change that to impact. And they change that at all. That doesn't change at all. So this is wrong. Something I didn't hear was wrong. I think it might be my quotes. Let's see. If quote equals so what's up with that? What is up with that? Color equals, let's try showing blocks. Okay, fine. Can't do that. Let's try putting those quotes back in. Show blocks. So if color equals light green, Lucida Sands. Nope, still not working. Still not working. Let us think. So we're looking at conditionals. If we want, what if I go back to an old lesson and took a look at some other examples? Or I think it actually gives me the option. No, let's go here. I'll go back to my conditionals and get some help. So, investigate. Let's see. Yeah, it should be in quotes. Should be in quotes. Color equals this and font family equals that. If lavender and times. Still not working. Let's try. Color equals light green and font family equals Lucida Sands. Hi. Very inspirational, but it should say nice choice. What did I do wrong? What did I do wrong? Feedback output. Yeah. Let's try this. Let's try checking out our different variables. Font family. Yeah. Light green, Lucy to Sands. And then if I change it to lavender, then font family to Times. Missing something. I'm missing something there. What am I missing? Let's think. So the variables are definitely updating. The issue is that this text is not changing. Feedback output. However, it's changing here. Did I do these in the wrong order? Doesn't seem like that would. So maybe what if I just, if color equals light green, let's just simplify a little bit. Then set text to nice choice. Else run. Let's try that. So I feel like we've run into this issue in the past with conditionals. No, that's not it. Oops. I am not sure why that's not working. I do not know. I'm going to take a break for now, and hopefully we'll be able to figure this out together. Let's see. Let me stop recording more. I'll see you guys later.